viewers, welcome to the second part of the video film on creativity and problem solving. In the first part of the film, you saw that the process of creativity passes through 6 stages, namely preparation, incubation, illumination, verification, communication of results, and review and modification. In this part of the video film, we will take up the various blocks and barriers in the process of creativity.
Let me introduce you to some of the barriers to creative process, right, which I took as the last, but I think let me introduce you to first to these barriers. Barriers to creativity or creative process, right? Just have a look that the barriers to creative process, they can be psychological, they can be perceptual, or they can be cultural, and these can be emotional. Broadly, these are the 4 different types of barriers which inhibit an individual from indulging in creative behavior. Now, when I say psychological, one is, you have rightly mentioned, is feeling of insecurity. Fear of failure also leads to insecurity, right? There is a feeling of insecurity that I may fail in this activity. People may not accept me. My self-esteem is hurt, or my self-esteem is at the risk. So, I will not like to indulge in any activity which is new, right? I will not like to experiment with new techniques, new methods, new ideas, new processes, because I am fearful of what will happen to me, or my status, or my self-esteem, or my prestige, and my recognition, and so on. Need for conformity. People tend to be conformist. They would like to conform to the norms which are existing or prevailing in the organization, in the institution, or maybe in the society, or whatever practices are being followed in the organization, they are used by the individual. You do not want to break. Incapacity to use. I do not have the knowledge and skills or attitudes, the required knowledge, skills and attitudes which can be used for generating new ideas, trying out new ideas. So, I do not have that kind of capacity or the capabilities. Or incapacity to use unconscious, that is, I am not able to use my unconscious ability or mind. Occupationalism, that is, whatever is being exercised or practiced by other colleagues in the organization, I would like to follow the suit. That means, whatever the job specifications, I would like to complete those job requirements, or I would like to attain those goals which have been set by the organization, and I will not like to deviate from what is being practiced in the job. Then there are certain perceptual factors. Difficulty in isolating problem, right? When you say perception, I think you are familiar with what do we mean by perception or perceptual processes. What do we mean by perception?
It is an individual way of seeing the world.
Very right, very right. It is how you analyze the incoming information and try to attach some meaning to that information, right? If I see some object, and can I say that this is a tree, or this is a table, or this is overhead projector? Can I label that? I can name, or I can relate the various components of the object which I am seeing. So, you are trying to internally analyze the incoming information and attaching a meaning to it. And difficulty in isolating problem, that means the individual is unable to analyze the problem and say what is the problem. You say people are not motivated, But what is it that is leading to low level of motivation that you are not able to perceive, you are not able to analyze? Then narrowing the problem, because whenever you start to identify a problem, it is very, very complex, and you have number of factors which are influencing or contributing to that kind of problem. You cannot handle all the factors at one point of go, or one point of time, at one go or one point of time, but you would like to narrow down the scope of your problem, which can be handled by you. So people are unable to narrow down the problem. This is again a perceptual barrier. Inability to define terms. You are not able to give specific definition of the various elements which constitute the problem. Then failure to use all senses. I may depend upon the organizational data only, what the facts and figures convey to me, but I don't go to the people and take their opinion. So I am banking all my decisions, all my skills on the facts and figures which are available in the organization, but I am not trying to gather additional information to supplement or to support that kind of data. So I am making use of limited senses. Because the people are working, I am not going to their work environment observing them, how they are behaving in a particular environment or situation or a system. So limited use of senses. So what is needed is that you make all use of senses, right? Then difficulty in seeing remote relationships. Right? Say for example, I give you computer and omelette. People will laugh at me. What is the link between computer and omelette? But can somebody think of a relationship between computer and omelette? The right response comes here, right? You can have a computer program which gives you all the recipes of preparing an omelette, different types of omelette, right? So you can computerize the program, and anybody who would like to do or prepare an omelette can just switch on the computer, get the recipe and prepare, right? So difficulty in seeing remote relationships, failure to distinguish between cause and effect. Now say for example, I say there is, are you familiar with need achievement or achievement motivation, and achievement, that is academic achievement. Need for achievement means to excel in a particular area, to attain standards of excellence, right? Or to attain high standards of excellence, right? Now the person who has high need for achievement will put in his best efforts, will strive for attaining high standards of attainment. And on account of high need achievement, his academic achievement will go high, right? But when academic achievement is very good, very high, I also get motivated. That means my need achievement increases. Now in this situation, it is not very simple to say whether achievement motivation is causing high academic achievement or high academic achievement is causing high need for achievement, right? The person who has experienced success at particular stage, that may lead to high need for achievement. Maybe I am able to attain 90% marks in one of the classes. That itself becomes a starting point for me, a motivation for me to go still higher, and this circle will continue. So what is the cause and what is an effect? That I am not able to say at this moment, but yes, I can do it. If I take a systematic research and do it, I can say. So failure to distinguish between the cause and effect is another barrier. What is it that is leading to a particular state of affair? If you are able to diagnose your problem correctly, there will be more certainty that you will come out with a solution to the problem. If your analysis and definition of the problem is wrong, you will not reach the end point because your beginning is wrong. The first step taken is wrong, so the subsequent steps will be wrong, right? So people are not able to do that. Cultural barrier, conformity, that is to cultural norms and standards. You would like to conform to the cultural norms and standards. Then to be practical, right? You want to be very practical. Oh, using this technique, I can achieve the result within 10 minutes or 10 days. So why to look for a new idea, new innovation? I go in the same rug, I produce the same product, I can have the profit, right? So why to look for new ideas, new techniques, new products? So let me go into the area which is already flourishing. People are accepting that kind of product. Let me produce the similar kind of product. So you want to be very, very practical. Cultural taboos, right? The ideas which are not socially acceptable to the culture, you don't want to indulge or you don't want to try it out those ideas, right? So you want social recognition, social acceptability, and you don't want to break up with the traditions of the culture or the things which are considered to be antisocial or unsocial. You don't want to be in those activities. Faith in statistics, that you depend too much on the facts and figures. You are in the habit of depending upon the facts and figures. So you don't try to think beyond the figures, the numerical data which is available to you. Hanji, please. Then comes faith in reason and logic, right? अब जैसे I take fish and submarine, right? Now the person who has come out with this invention of submarines, he has made a thorough study of the fish. But initially if somebody thinks of, these are two remote ideas, right? So we depend upon logic, whether the step is right or wrong. Is it yes, acceptable or rejected, right? So you go by reasoning, you go by logic, but divergent thinking doesn't ask for logic or reasoning. You can have jumps, you can perceive any relationship between two remote ideas, right? So faith in reason and logic, if you depend too much on reasoning and logic, then you will not be able to generate a new ideas. Too much or little knowledge. Either the person has too much of knowledge, is overconfident, or you know very little. That again causes a problem. If you think you know much, then you don't look for other ideas, or you don't try to accept the viewpoint of others. You don't want to explore more. But if you consider yourself to be humble, having some knowledge, then you would like to explore the world, explore the relationships. Fantasy, worthless. That means you are not very sure of the outcome that you will get by indulging yourself in imagination, right? So you are not trying out those innovative processes. Overemphasis on competition or cooperation, right? So you want to be accepted by the group, by the organization, or you say, oh, I have to compete with that industry, it is using the same technique, let me also use the same technique and compete with. I don't want to waste time in trying out or evolving strategies, then trying out, then coming in competition. I may lose the competitive edge. This is a wrong notion. When you evolve something new, your cost will decrease, your profits will go high, right? So innovations, inventions, creative decisions always help the organization in building the organization and taking the organizations to height. And there are certain emotional barriers when you, these are fear of failure, fear of failure, fear of error, right? I am afraid that I may commit a mistake, or I may make a mistake, or I am afraid that I may fail in the activity. That is not allowing me to experiment with. Eagerness to succeed. I can't wait, I can't waste time, but I would like to reap the benefits. So, there is eagerness to what? Succeed or yield the result, correct? Fear of superiors, you are afraid of superior boss. But now, most of you are likely to set up your business, you are the owner managers, right? So, you have no fear of superiors. So, you can be as creative as you like to be.
We have thus seen that the various blocks to creativity, namely psychological, perceptual, cultural, and emotional, need to be overcome in order to facilitate the process of creative thinking. In the next part of the film, we will take up the various techniques of creative problem solving.